Good evening. Finally, we're here. So this is Jordan Poundstone from Emmett, almost a local boy, young man, pretty close. He has been on a very challenging project that had lots and lots and lots and lots of changes and requirements and other things, but that was the biggest issue for the longest time. So he'll talk about that. I don't want to take too much of his talk away. You didn't have your cue.
Oh, no, Lucas is going at the same time as
Oh,
me.
that's
so
right.
he was
I did that.
using it. I put a picture, it kind of
Okay,
showed
good.
what it was. So.
All right, so I'll shut up and let you go.
Alright, so like you said, I'm Jordan Poundstone. For my project, I built a website, portal, and database to house the NNU Space Research Project. So this includes CubeSats and RockSats. So today I'm going to go over a little bit of background with the CubeSat specification and a little bit about RiftSat, which was my project, and then the requirements, the implementation of the website and database, future work, and some lessons that I learned. So the CubeSat specification, it has to be 10 by 10 by 30 centimeters, which is roughly 4 by 4 by 12 inches. So it's a pretty small thing. And the rails have to contact with the PPOG, which is the deployment mechanism, so it has to be very precise, and it's down to, I think it's like 1/100 of a millimeter or something like that. It is very tight precision to get it in there. So we have to have it exactly that size. This is a little picture that kind of shows about the size of it. You can hold it in your hand. So it's kind of a challenge to get it all inside of that. RiftSat was the project that I worked on specifically. It's testing backscatter radio frequency technology. So backscatter means that it doesn't have a radio on board. Another radio sends a signal to it. The antenna receives the signal, does science with it, and then it modulates the wave and just reflects it back without the need for an active radio. So it doesn't use any electricity to create the wave, and you don't have to have a big, bulky machine on it. We got a grant from the CubeSat Launch Initiative, which was a NASA project. There were 30 schools that received this grant, and we built a 3U CubeSat with it. Some of the others did other CubeSats or even just high altitude balloons, but we thought a satellite was more fun. So it is the second satellite built in Idaho. MakerSat is the first one, and so both of them are actually here at NNU. We're the only school here in Idaho that has developed the satellites. We're kind of holding the corner market of the satellite industry in Idaho. The requirements for this project changed quite a few times. It's actually not even the same project as what the original thought was. The RiftSat still is, but my project specifically, I was supposed to write the flight software for it, and I ended up not writing any software that's going on the satellite. I did entirely kind of ground control. So the final requirements that I had was a database to store any information we received back from the satellites, and a website so that we can access the database. So for my website implementation, it started out really simple. I was supposed to just create a little app that would access the database and get information back. I kind of expanded that and added the support for the other satellites as well, not just our own. And then it kind of turned into a portal for all of NNU's space research stuff. So it has the database, but then it's also got some other information. It contains the database access for students here that are working on the project so we can see the data and some other stuff. And then it's also got a lot of content for kind of public, so they can see information about our projects and stuff about NNU. In order to implement the website, I used WAMP, which is Windows, Apache, MySQL, and PHP. It's basically a small server for hosting websites on your local machine. Then I used Embedly, which is a program to just embed news articles and other things in your website, so that was really useful, and the Twitter API, which I'll explain in a little bit. So the homepage is the first thing that you see. I put over on the left, there's the NNU Space Research in the News. So I used Embedly to put these news articles on the page. And so if you scroll through, it's got a bunch of different articles that are about NNU space research. So this first one here, the 6 Coolest CubeSats, is a publication from NASA that talks about MakerSat. And so, well, that's one of the 6 CubeSats that it talks about. So I thought it was cool to put it on there. I also used Twitter's API to create a live stream of tweets. Now, right now it's just going from NASA NASA, but I can also change that to have edit news tweets or really any of the other ones. So that's kind of just the home page. Up along the top, you've got the navigation bars to get to the other websites or other web pages. So the next one is the database access page. I have to make it to where when you go into this, if you haven't logged in, then you can't see the data because a lot of it is kind of proprietary information, so we couldn't just leave it open to the public. I made it to where if you're not logged in, it just locks the screen. You can't click on anything except for the OK button or the login button. If you click on OK, it reroutes you back to the home page. If you click on login, it comes to this. So then this really needs to be made to look better, but that was not at the highest end of my priority list. I was just trying to get it to work first. So once you log in, it allows you to choose a satellite, what kind of data you want, and then go through and pick which fields within the database you want. So this is just an example of it. I just picked a few fields from it. It just pulled up the raw string, temperature, the bus voltage, and a couple other things. And I'll kind of talk about the database a little bit more towards the end of this. The next page was probably the easiest one to create. It's just a list of our projects here at NNU and a little bit of a description of each one. So this is the only page I use, or one of two pages I made that only uses CSS and HTML. I didn't have to go into JavaScript or PHP, which made this a really simple implementation. The image gallery I put up here for if we get any pictures back from the satellites, which we want to eventually, then we can post them there so anyone can just see these. And that'll just be a really cool thing to show. I'm having a little bit of trouble with this. For some reason, it cut off one of the boxes and stuck it up there at the top. I spent a few hours trying to fix that, but then just figured it wasn't worth the time and moved on to other more important things. The contact page, this one has the engineering and physics department, and then if you scroll down, it's also got the computer science department. It's just got the professors, and it's all of this information I pulled off of the NNU homepage. And then it's also got pages for each team specifically. So if you're not logged in, it pulls it up and shows you each team member that worked on it, their major and an email address, just so if you're interested, you can get more information. And then if you are logged in, which we'll only be giving these logins to people here at the school that are involved in the space research projects, it also pulls up the phone numbers so we can kind of, if you lose someone's phone number, you can still contact them quickly. This page is something that Dr. Griffin and Dr. Dark requested. I had not even thought of this, and they thought it would be really cool to add this in for like kids who are looking at the school. Maybe prospective students might see it, and it would just be a cool thing. So it's got a map, and I have it set up to where it looks at the database, and it takes the last GPS locations of the satellite and automatically moves this little marker to wherever the satellite was at last. And then right above that, I use JavaScript to create a little odometer. I have in there the launch date, and it takes the speed that is needed to maintain its orbit, and just multiplies that by the time since the launch date, and it can tell you how far the satellite has traveled. So that's just kind of another cool thing for kids and prospective students to look at. Search settings weren't the most necessary thing, but they seemed kind of nice to put in there, so I used Google's custom search engine. It's an API where you can just tell it that you want to search this website, and it'll give you code to kind of copy and paste into your website. So I have it just looking at the NNU page. Later, I will add the space research portal to this so that you can search the website that it's on as well. But you need a URL for it, and I've not migrated this to the school server yet, so it's still just running on my local machine. Settings was another cool thing that I thought of. So if you go there when you're not logged in, it allows you to register and request access, which again, this is something that we'll really only be giving to people in the school or people directly involved with the project. And so you can just kind of enter in information. If you log in, then you can go through, change username, password, that kind of settings, just really quick. And if you have an administrator account, then you can add new users to it. So there's two ways to do this. I put down at the bottom, anyone who is registered and requested access. It's just got their name, email address, and you can either approve or deny it. It'll just remove them from the table there. So you only see people who you haven't looked at yet. Above that is to enter one manually. And I set it up so that's the only way to make someone an administrator, because it would be too easy click on the wrong button when you're just going through quickly approving and denying people. You don't want to accidentally give someone administrator privileges that shouldn't have it. So now kind of a little bit about the database. I have a login system. And so this one is for people who have been given access. There's kind of just login information, an administrator flag that just tells whether or not they have those privileges. And this one is the registration table. So when you request access, it throws your information into there, and then that's where it polls for the table where administrators can approve or deny people. And then this one is the data that we're actually getting back. There's going to be 3 types of data packets. However, I only have 2 of them to put on here right now. So there's the health beacon packets that just give information about the satellite to make sure it's still working, and radiation counters. And so it just comes up with a number of how many particles have hit the radiation sensors since it's been up. So future work that I need, I really need to migrate it to the school server because right now I'm the only person that can see it. So eventually it'll replace the engineering department's website so that anyone who is on the NNU homepage, if they go to the engineering department and the space research stuff, they'll just see this website. Right now what's there is just quick descriptions of each of the projects. There's not really anything else there. I need to create an email service for the registration. It's not possible to create emails from WAMP. So once it's migrated over, I can make it to where if someone requests access, then it'll send an email to the administrator so that they know there's someone waiting. And then once they approve someone, it can send an email to the user and tell them, hey, you've got access now. More tables need to be added. Right now it only has support for RiftSat data, but there will also need to be tables for any kind of data that we get back from MakerSat or RockSat or any other projects that we have. And then there's some other just small features, but just really small things that I didn't get to, but hopefully eventually will. Lessons that I learned. The biggest thing is that requirements are likely to change. Dr. Myers was telling me that a lot of the underclassmen don't realize that, but I mean, my requirements completely changed. I'm not even doing the same project that I thought I was going to do a year ago. Also, starting early if requirements are not solidified, I kept waiting for my requirements to be solid before I started, and ended up running out of time. I turned to the project in really late because I just kept putting it off, saying, oh, I've almost got them solidified. So that's just a really bad idea. And asking for help when needed. I kept thinking this is my project, I want to do the whole thing. And after a while, I finally started realizing I needed to ask other people for help when there was something I didn't know how to do. So that's basically the projects that I did. Is there any questions?
What are the access to, do the other cubes, you said at the beginning 6 cubes, do they have similar portals as this one?
So for all of the CubeSats here at NNU, they'll all go to this portal. So this is the first website we've developed for it, so it'll hold the information for every space research project.
At NNU, correct?
Yeah, just the NNU ones. There's several thousand CubeSats currently in development, and then I think there's close to 100,000 in orbit. Do you know if that's about right?
There's about like 400 in orbit right now.
Oh, there's only 400 in orbit?
Yeah, there's like, yeah, 400 in orbit, 600 launch, and then several hundred more down the chain.
Okay. There's way too many of them to put it all on this, and we also won't have access to any of the other satellites' data. So.